the more that we can, reconnect as athletes and share experiences and share our networks and introductions and all that we've gone on to accomplish afterward, just to help make that next generation even a little more prepared with some of the mistakes and things we wish we would have known and done earlier. I think the more that we can do that, the better.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Athletes Unite Conference podcast. I'm one half of the hosts. I'm Jonathan Jones, and Classy James is the other part, leading the ship in this effort, not only just for this podcast, but especially for the conference. So shout out to Classy. Shout out to all of our sponsors who are also making this thing happen. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody, right? On July 15th and 16th is going to be amazing because it's going to be a life-changing event. We're focusing the emphasis on mental health, but so much more, entrepreneurship, business, where people can get a job, find out more about jobs. But we're going to have the links down below so you can sign up for the conference in Atlanta down in the show notes. But today, I have the pleasure of gracing the stage with Mr. Josh Haymond. And he's not only amazing father of two boys, he's a husband, and he's the founder of Alley Hoops. Josh, how are you doing today?
Jonathan, I'm doing great. Top of the morning, top of the week. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you. So, so who is Josh Haymond? Let's just start off a little bit on the deep end. Who is Josh Haymond? Talk to us.
Josh Haymond, man. Well, I will tell you that if I'm not a dad, I'm not doing what I said I was going to do when I was younger. Growing up, I did not have my father in my life, and so for me, that really is my first priority, is making sure that I can be, the dad and the husband I need to be outside of work. In work, I lead a recruiting and consulting firm in Raleigh called Vaco. We're a $1 billion company in a bunch of different markets, but that is my daytime. And then my side hustle has really been a passion project in the community. Alley Hoops, as you mentioned, a certified nonprofit organization that we founded in 2020. I'm lucky to have just a really strong team that came together, including Derek Boone, who introduced me to Classy. Derek, of course, helping with the conference as well as the Shakeout VP of Sales. So Derek was I think a freshman or sophomore when I was a senior at Millbrook. I played basketball growing up. This is how I got in touch with Derek and many other people in my personal and professional network. So to me, the game of basketball was always a part of my life until it wasn't. So when you think about Alley Hoops, think about preparing the youth for when the ball stops bouncing, because the ball will certainly stop bouncing. So I'm really excited to be able to host the panel, Bossed Up and Giving Back. I'll be, just helping drive and kick as the assist person, putting a lot of great people on stage in that panel to talk about their success within the community.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love, and I think there's nothing that's greater than having the opportunity of taking information that you've learned, taking insight, from mentors that's been passed down year after year, generations over generation, and then having the opportunity to like give it back and, really pay it forward. So where would you say is where you develop the passion, Josh, and where you were like, wait a minute, I want to do something that can position other, youth for what's next? Like when did that come about for you?
Well, let's say back to my upbringing a little bit. For me, even though I did not have um, everything in life, I still had a lot of people around me in my family that made sure I knew I had it a lot better than other people. So even as I was, growing up, I always just had kind of the heart for, the class under me or the two classes down or the going back to elementary school to help out when I was in middle school, high school, or whatever it was. So for me, it was always mentorship, mentorship, mentorship. How do we invest into the next generation and help them find success, and help share those stories and help amplify others that have the great stories and the great experiences as well, right? And so when you think about, just kind of having that as a part of my DNA as a coach and as someone who wanted to see others succeed, and just remove those barriers as best we could, because there are a lot of barriers out there, especially for families and the children of those families that don't have as much. And so how are we just making it a little bit easier when we can, in areas that we can control? And so for me, it was that, on top of then, you know, always having, the interest in, if I was in an area of privilege and I've got many afforded to me, how am I then making sure that I'm leveraging those to the best of my ability? And seeing my father and not have anything to his name, and not being able to, give into the relationship with me very often as I was growing up, certainly framed. I know where a lot of, not saying that all these kids don't have their dads or don't have their moms, but I am saying I do feel, that, that experience for me is able to not see everything out of the eyes of that youth that they might be feeling or going through, but just knowing that there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of need, there's a lot of interest in how our team can really connect with the youth, connect with their families, make sure that we're trying to spark the interest outside of the game of basketball as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think I think what you did a great job just of breaking down as you're just explaining and sharing a little bit of your story in there, of what it takes to be a true leader, because a leader has to be aware, a leader has to be empathetic, and then a leader also needs to know and understand. I would love to know and tell you, I know what you're going through. I know what it feels like. But at the same time, if we don't, then just finding a way to create that connection and also finding a way to put other pieces together. So, I mean, just hearing what you're sharing, I'm like, wow, this is really good stuff. This is really good stuff, and really aware. Just knowing that there's sports, there's life, and that they can be blended together in so many ways. But at the same time, they have their own respective, I guess, tools that they teach us and leave us with. So just thinking about all of that, Josh, I'm curious to hear from you though. Why is it important that athletes unite?
So many of us have our DNA tied to athletics, myself included, for the first, you know, let's say 18 years of my life, because I think athletes do share the similarity that, we all really cared about something and poured ourselves into it, whether it was, diversion from other things that were happening around us, or, our parents really pushed us, or, we just fell in love with something and really put all our emphasis into it. But, I was in that boat. I was in that boat where, until 18 years old, basketball was my number one priority. School came very easy to me, so I did not have to put in a lot of the, side hours to prepare for whatever I needed to for school. I did my work early. I did my work while I was at school so that I could, do what I wanted to afterward. But I think, the idea though, that then for me, it was my body had totally broke down on me. I was 6'6" when I was 11. So I was the top dog in the state and stopped growing, but my body had grown so rapidly that my knees and my back and my feet were just, so in bad shape. I remember, icing my knees in middle school between AAU games. You don't see a lot of middle schoolers icing their knees, but I was that guy. And so for me, when I was in the training room more at Elon than I was actually able to enjoy the game, I knew it just wasn't going to be something that I could continue on. So I stopped not only playing the game at 18, but I didn't really watch basketball for 10 years. I didn't coach basketball for 10 years. And up until that point, it was everything to me. And so when you think about all those relationships that I had built through that time, and how just my identity was not only there, but my relationships and the people that I had just been around all of my life. And then all of a sudden, it's a weird feeling of, guilt and separation, and wanting something different than the reality of what happened. And if you've ever been in the training room, which I know most athletes have, if you're in the training room, those hour and a half before and the hour and a half after, just to get your body ready to go, it gets tiring. It gets tiring. It gets depressing. How is my body going to respond tomorrow? That anxiety behind it, all those things. And so when I stopped playing the game of basketball, I'm luckily that I had met my wife in my freshman year at Elon, and we moved together and lived together in the rest of college. So at least I had, a someone that I was able to spend all that time with as I was really pulled out of that identity. But the more that we can, reconnect as athletes and share experiences and share our networks and introductions and all that we've gone on to accomplish afterward, just to help make that next generation even a little more prepared with some of the mistakes and things we wish we would have known and done earlier. I think the more that we can do that, the better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really love that, from the mistakes to the motivation to the messages. All of that is so necessary, and I think so essential, just to make sure that we shorten the learning curve as much as possible for each generation, for each age group. For each young student, each young leader. Josh, what are you most looking forward to about the conference? We got the conference coming up, Atlanta, the 15th and 16th of July. What are you most excited for with the Athletes Unite conference this year?
So going back to my first point, who is Josh Haymond and Dad first? I'm really excited to go see Lego, but so we've got the boys coming in, boys and my wife will be there, and grandmother coming in. We all roll together, roll deep. So we'll have them with me, which will be great. Really excited about the conference. One of the most exciting things about the conference for me is that we've got several of our team that's going to be there. So we've got a couple of other speakers. Derek Boone, who I mentioned, VP of Sales for Shakeout, executive at Cisco and technology. We've also got Mike Grace, top 100 young Black lawyers in all of America. Mike Grace, former Yale player, as well as grew up in the Trefo in Winston-Salem. So Mike's family and my wife's family kind of grew up in and around each other. It was pretty cool the way Mike got brought to Alley-Oop. And then we'll also have several other of our board members just kind of around us. So, anytime that we can get together is great. Anytime that we can, expand our knowledge base, our skill set through others who have done amazing things is fantastic. And I think when you're thinking about community work and, how there are many communities that need work, um, coming together with so many from different areas, and spending time thinking about how we can deliberately bring some of those impacts across geography. Now more so than ever, we can do that now that we've proven we can do things like this, very easily and seamlessly. How are we just making sure that we're setting the table for one another? And so that mixer, I believe it's a Friday night mixer, or is it Thursday night? You'll have to correct me. But I'm really excited for the mixer, and getting to know just a few more in a casual setting who are going to be a part of the conference. Just because to me, just kind of breaking bread with everybody there is going to be really helpful, and should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at your answer about Lego. I'm not mad at your answer. Okay, just for the record, when you said that, I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea, because one thing I did not realize, Josh, because I'm in Dallas, and I didn't realize how massive of a movement Lego really is. They opened a Lego store in North Park, and I kid you not, every time they would have a release, there would be a line from the Lego store all the way, like, almost around the mall. And I'm like, is it Jordan releases? Like, what is this? People go crazy for the Legos. So I'm
and
not mad
and
about it.
we love him, man. My 4-year-old, my youngest, he can now do them on his own with the little ones. So he's graduated
Uh,
from the Duplos up. the 6-year-old is a wizard. So I've got these kids that, and that's for me. Like, I grew up playing Legos alone. That was one of the
Mm,
things I did alone, right? And so to
mhm.
me, getting to play Legos with my boys, and it's just
Wow.
a blast we have. So we'll go. I'm sure we'll go. I think we're going to go on Wednesday. We're going to come in a few days early and
Nice.
enjoy a longer trip in Atlanta, and get to take them there and a few other places around. So it should be fun. But I'll let you know how it is, so you could
Yeah.
definitely make a trip of it.
Please, please, man. Because one thing we can't forget that Legos will help you with that critical thinking, with that problem
Absolutely.
solving. We can't pass that up. But anyway, Josh, we're not gonna go there. We'll have a whole conversation on Legos. So I got some other stuff. Anyway. But Josh, where can people find you? How they can connect with you? How can they follow you? Please share that information at this time.
So my blog, where I try to keep a every couple weeks post on leadership, management, hiring trends, anything like that. That's at joshhaymond.com. Instagram, Josh underscore Haymond. Twitter, Josh underscore Haymond. And then from Alley Oop Hoops standpoint, Instagram, alley-oop.hoops. Okay. Twitter, Alley-oop NC. So we're a little bit disjointed there, but excited to connect with all of y'all. And there are not a lot of Josh Hammonds out there. You just got to make sure you use a Y instead of a double M. I've been called Hammond all my life. So that's a great job, Jonathan. You said it right without me telling you.
Oh, Josh. Well, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't mess that up. So that's good. That's good. Good job, John. Good job. Good job. Man, but Josh, I appreciate you taking the time to stop by. Well, Classy and I appreciate you taking the time to stop by. The Athletes Unite Conference podcast. And man, everybody out there listening, be sure to mark your calendar, get your flight, get your hotel, all that stuff, so you can meet Josh and you can tap into the panel. Because they're going deep, right? They're going deep, going to give great information, and you can get the opportunity to connect with Josh. I'm looking forward to connecting with him in person. So, Josh, thank you so much. And hey, man, I'm gonna see you in July.
Hey, look forward to it, John. Thanks so much for having me. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Sounds good. And everybody, if you have not got your ticket, be sure to click the link just down below. And also be sure to follow Shakeout LLC on Instagram. And we're going to have some other links down in the show notes for you to follow. Until next time, this is the Athletes Unite Conference podcast, and we will see you in Atlanta.